Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
All them joints got nuts and some.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. Thousands and thousands and thousands of documents from the lawsuits against Jeffrey Epstein, his estate, and the people that worked with him to create the foremost elite pederast ring in the world are coming to light. And we are learning a number of bombshell revelations. And there is a picture that is suddenly being painted about the orbits around two U.S. presidents that I think is really, really interesting and very important to note. The two presidents at hand that knew Jeffrey Epstein and were, I guess, around Jeffrey Epstein were Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. These two guys had shared circles with Epstein, I think is the best way to say that. The evidence is, of course, demonstrable that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein knew each other and once flew on a plane together from New York to Palm Beach, where they both lived. The evidence is also demonstrable that Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane a bunch of times, and they knew each other. But that's where the similarities stop. And the documents are beginning to show is that one U.S. president helped in the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein and the conviction of Jeffrey Epstein and banned Jeffrey Epstein from his properties and effectively used his experience with law enforcement to try and lock up this predator and pederast. And one president, well, protected the pederast and protected the predator and was partaking, let's just say, in what this predator had to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the picture that's being made clear. Now, how do we know all this? I'll show it to you in black and white, okay? Long time over the last couple of years, people have been using images of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together in the early 90s to say that they're the same thing. Both sidesing it. Look, every president knew Jeffrey Epstein. Wrong. Not all presidents were created equal. And there's one president in particular who is an absolute monster. Bill Clinton is that person. Bill Clinton marched into Vanity Fair's office and threatened staff to not write about Jeffrey Epstein. Virginia Roberts Giuffre claims in latest bombshell court documents. You can see here in the court documents, she says directly, this is her email, saying that Bill Clinton was advocating for his good friend Jeffrey Epstein to not get them to write about the sex trafficking in a big article they were going to do on him. Now, this was after Jeffrey Epstein was already convicted of being a sex pest predator and went to jail for this. So this is like a permanent thing on his record. You don't expunge those things. That's with you forever, and obviously should be. And Jeffrey Epstein should have been in jail forever. Hillary Clinton stopped that from happening. But here we go. Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a real problem because what it shows that Bill Clinton had something to hide. Vanity Fair went on to write that article and left out all of the allegations against Epstein as a predator and a pederast. Bill Clinton won. Bill Clinton was able to get them to scrub all that information out because it implicated him. Trump supporters are very worked up about the Jeffrey Epstein list. This is how Vanity Fair is covering it, the drop of the list right now. So Vanity Fair continues to cover for the Clintons. An important reminder, by the way, that Jeffrey Epstein and how he operated is made purely evident in these documents. He would take young girls and then he would traffic those young girls to powerful people. That's it. That's it. Time after time after time, this has been made entirely clear that the entire operation was that. Now, there's one person that sniffed this all out from the start, and that was Donald Trump. Here in the documents, you can see business, personal, and political and financial gain, as well as to obtain potential blackmail information, was the purpose of these women. Potential blackmail information? Wow, that seems like an intelligence operation. And there's one guy who actually was able to narrow in and say, nope, I'm going to call bullshit on this entire operation. And that was Donald Trump. Here's how the operation worked. Here we go. Epstein forced Jane Doe, this is one of his victims, Jane Doe 3, to have sexual relations with a member of the British royal family, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, in 3 different locations. This then continued on and on and on. Epstein trafficked Jane Doe 3 for sexual purposes for powerful men, including prominent American politicians, business executives, foreign presidents, well-known prime minister, and other world leaders. Donald Trump being the only person who actually not only wasn't mentioned in these tranche of documents, Donald Trump not mentioned one time in the new tranche of documents. Donald Trump was mentioned only one time in the first tranche, and that's from one of Epstein's victims saying he wanted, like, I never met Donald Trump. I never saw him on the island. I never gave him a massage. Nothing. Donald Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago way back in 2017. Attorney Bradley Edwards named Trump as the only person who helped him in the case against Epstein. That's it. The only guy who actually helped him. Donald Trump did not visit Epstein's homes or island, had no contact with underage girls. Okay? So this whole both sides thing, here we go. Donald Trump, no. Did you ever massage Donald Trump? No. This whole both sides thing, him and Bill Clinton are the same people? Nope. These documents have completely and totally exonerated Donald Trump. Did Jeffrey Epstein ever talk to you about Bill Clinton? He said Bill Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. So Jeffrey Epstein saying that Bill Clinton likes the girls young. And also in the documents is a big story about how Bill Clinton went to Little St. James on the private island and was accompanied by two girls no older than 17. This is directly according to the plaintiff in this case, saying that Bill Clinton went to Little St. James and the Secret Service refuses to give the documentation to prove this. The Secret Service has stonewalled, saying they won't be giving out documentation on where Bill Clinton was at this time. So why would they do that? This would be an easy way to say that Bill Clinton never went to the private island, Jeffrey Epstein's private island. Because here you have, under penalty of perjury, one of Epstein's victims saying that Bill Clinton was there and that Bill Clinton had two girls no older than 17, very innocent looking. They weren't there for me. They weren't there for Jeffrey or Ghislaine. I was there for Jeffrey. Maybe Jeffrey thought that they would entertain Bill. Well, that seems like pretty damning, and maybe it's time for Bill Clinton to answer those questions. Joe Rogan says that the painting of Bill Clinton is, of course, the proof that I got you. I got you, Bill. That's what it's all about. That's what this is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not the only ones to be making this connection. Very interesting segment on Fox News by Jesse Waters saying the exact same thing. That there was only one U.S. president and one elite, as far as we know, one member of the American elite that actually assisted in the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein, and that was Donald Trump. Fully and totally exonerated. Not guilty. Y'all got to feel me. Check this out.
Fox News alert. The second tranche of Epstein documents just dropped, and the primetime team is digging through them like furious truffle pigs. We do see an email between people indicating Bill Clinton personally walked into the offices of Vanity Fair and threatened journalists to spike sex trafficking articles about his, quote, good friend Jeffrey Epstein. Why would he go to bat for Epstein? Not sure. Another email indicates that a 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre was trafficked to Prince Andrew and other men, including, quote, two of the world's most respected politicians. The names of the respected politicians are redacted. So go back around 20 years ago and ask yourself, who were two of the world's most popular politicians? Yesterday, we discovered that an Epstein victim told her that Bill Clinton likes his girls young and that he did indeed fly on Epstein's plane and even his chopper. We learned just how close Stephen Hawking and Epstein really were. We discovered that David Copperfield spent some time at Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach estate. Surprisingly, he was not able to make his name in these documents disappear, though. And we learned that world leaders may currently be under the threat of blackmail. You'd think an international sex trafficking and espionage ring involving the highest levels of politics, finance, celebrity, and royalty would stir slight interest in professional journalists. Not really. This is how they're covering the story.
Former President Bill Clinton and Donald Trump mentioned in deposition transcripts. Both have denied any wrongdoing. In one, a woman who once worked for Epstein recalled he spoke to her about Clinton, saying Epstein told her one time, quote, that Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. The same woman says Epstein once suggested calling Trump for an outing in Atlantic City.
The media, a lot of them controlled by big intel, is both sidesing this scandal. Bill Clinton, who was photographed getting a massage by an Epstein victim, who's lied repeatedly about flying on Epstein's jet, is now involved in a cover-up threatening journalists and reportedly had a romantic relationship with Epstein's madam, Ghislaine Maxwell. That's on par with Epstein going to Trump's casino 30 years ago. And was that Valerie Jarrett's daughter, Laura, fronting that piece? I think that was. Let's get the facts straight here. Here's the lawyer who represents dozens of Epstein's victims.
The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave.
This is the same lawyer that says Bill Clinton spent a lot of time in Epstein's orbit and refused to help the victims.
He was in Jeffrey Epstein's presence, and even more so in Ghislaine Maxwell's presence, many, many times on numerous occasions, including on occasions when others who were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein were there. He has a lot of information. If we've invited him to speak to us, the fact that he's been less than helpful is troubling to me, who has only been trying to fight for the victims and survivors and get real answers.
Watters World spoke to a source close to Epstein's pilot and said Bill rides on Epstein's jet were kind of kinky. Bill Clinton was on those flights
numerous times, and these girls were dressed. He would describe them as candy stripers, and
so you're saying,
whatever they had to serve.
On the flights that Bill Clinton was on with Jeffrey Epstein, the stewardess or stewardesses, many of them were underage, were dressed as candy stripers.
Correct.
And there were beds in the back of the plane?
Beds, bedroom, yes.